3, 2, 1.
This is the Mac Media Show.
Ooh, welcome to the Mac Media Show, everyone. My name is Mac.
And I'm Ree.
And this is the Me and Ree Review Show. We are the two that review for you, America.
Yes, we are. And we do a good job.
Oh, spicy.
We do.
A little bit anxious today, are we?
It was a good episode. Yeah, I enjoyed it. A lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is good week for Steve.
Yeah, he did have a good week.
And Ryan's week was really strange. I felt like very uncomfortable watching Ryan this whole... I mean, I was.
It was weird.
It was awkward. It was to the point where it's like the developer was trying to be cool, kind of
sure
maybe
what it
for
was.
TV or something, but it was just awkward.
It seems like it was something that they tried to make work that flopped.
If
It didn't really work good. I didn't get
If
it.
you haven't watched the episode from this week, it's episode 9 of $1 Million Listing New York. You need to go watch it. It's on Bravo. But
It's unusual.
It was weird what they were trying to do with Ryan this week.
And Ryan kind of looked like he wasn't sure either. It was kind of, I didn't get it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe is that what?
Guy was a big nerd too.
It's kind of odd. Yeah, I'm
Just
not sure.
That whole thing felt off. Did
It
you feel that
yeah.
way?
Yeah, it didn't even when the people did the musical or whatever they called it.
Oh gosh,
it didn't make sense.
The
it
whole
was
thing.
kind of, I don't know. It's weird.
It's just
Weird.
awful. And then Fredrik was working on East Village.
Mm-hmm. Which he had a long time ago too, right?
Yeah, he's been
He's had
working
it
on
a
it
while.
about 5-6 years.
I remember it.
And he wants to do something for the area. And, he donated some money or whatever. I saw this so funny. This is what went through my mind. His commission was $4.7 million for this whole building.
Man.
And he says, I'm going to give $20,000 to the park. Oh,
I was going to
bless you.
say, wait a minute now. I was going to say, do you think this is real with Fredrik, that he's gotten maybe to that point in his life? He talks about, he goes to church. He talks about, family being important to him now. He's wanting to have another baby, all that kind of stuff. Do you really feel like he's maybe softened up since he's made all his money? He's probably got everything paid off, Connecticut, everything. Do you think maybe he has begun to soften up? And that's just one aspect of what he's doing. Did you notice that they said he had set up a foundation for homeless children in New York?
Yeah, that was neat.
Which is going to cost a lot more than $20,000.
That was really neat.
So
yeah.
I think he's really sincere. I do. I think he's kind of grown to that point. He's grateful for what he has. And, you've said to me in passing every now and then, it is amazing where he came from and what he's done.
Oh, yeah.
And so he should be very proud of himself. I mean, even writing the book, even, coming from Sweden and teaching himself English. And, I mean, he's done really well. He's not made some great decisions along the way, but who hasn't? I mean, we all don't make the perfect decisions. But he took them and he fixed them. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you.
So I have a lot of respect for him. I do.
Well, that's a nice thing to say. That
Okay.
was a good thing, and I agree with that. Fredrik has done that.
He could have
I don't
stayed
know.
in the, he could have, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but he
did.
could have stayed in the industry that he was in. That was the negative, is what I'm saying. But he chose not to. And that says a lot about him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's come a long way, but I also think that he's just trying to be a better person overall.
there's nothing
He's
wrong
made
with
the
that.
money, and now he's trying to have the spiritual
Well, that's what I'm
side.
saying.
It's
What's
all
wrong with
about
that?
being the best version of himself. And,
I love it.
Well, that's fine.
I do. I think everybody should be trying to do better, don't you?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think so.
All along, you should be looking at your character, how you can help other people. That's what we're here for, was to help each other. It's not here to see how much we can get and how much we can spend. How many houses can you buy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's true.
I mean, you hear these cliches all your life, how much money's enough. But these people that just keep buying, they're not all that happy. You're only happy, and if you think about it from your personal experience, happiness comes from helping somebody else, helping them along the way. When they're in dire straits, you come along and give them good advice or something. That's what sticks with you. If you think about your life and go back in your life, it's not how many houses you had.
That's very wise.
It's the truth.
Good. Very good.
Full of wisdom here.
Yeah, that was a good thing to add to the show. I
Well,
feel
hey,
like
it's
I
the
want to
truth.
go out and run a marathon now. That's
Oh,
good.
Give me a break.
I feel good.
But you know what? It is true. I'm a little older than you, but not much, but a little older. So I'm a little wiser. You learn what's
Was that a
important.
dig?
No, you're lucky. You're the younger one. I wish I was your age. But
Age
anyway,
is only a number, my friend. My wise friend.
until your knees start hurting, and then the number gets big. Anyway, interesting show though. I liked. Hey, did you? What'd you think about Topher and Rosenberg?
I don't even know who you're. What?
Are you serious? You don't remember when
Remind
the guy
me
came
what-
in with Fredrik? Fredrik showed him the penthouse, and he has a dog that looks like him. He had a tuxedo on. The dog had a tuxedo on. You don't remember that?
Did I see that?
His name is Topher. They're on YouTube or something. I've seen them on Google or whatever it is. I've seen them on there. The dog looks like him. They try to dress alike. They look alike. You know, it's that kind of thing he's
I
promoting.
promise you I did not see that.
Well, turn it back because the dog had on a tuxedo.
Was he was he showing the apartment to the guy?
And his name is Topher and Rosenberg. I don't know which one's what. I think the dog is Rosenberg.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Interesting.
And the guy fixes his hair to look like him. They're lookalikes.
How did I miss that?
I don't know because it was there.
Wow.
It was strange too. I don't understand why some man wants to go around with his dog looking like him, honestly. But
Oh, that's New York, baby.
oh please,
That's
That
the
is
way it should be.
It was at the very beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, sorry about that.
Well, anyway, the dog looks like him. You have to come back and watch it. He does look like him.
I didn't
Combs
even
his
remember,
hair. Dog looked like he was used to wearing a tuxedo. He just sat there.
No kidding.
And I thought, how you get a dog to wear a tuxedo?
What a brilliant dog.
Anyway, he did. So he's making lots of money, I guess, on this I look like my dog thing.
You know, I'm going back through the episode now, and as we record this, I'm scrolling through it, and I'm in the Ryan section once again, and all of a sudden I'm uncomfortable. I mean, that was awful.
That musical thing.
That whole thing was just weird.
I didn't get it either. I think it kind of fell flat when it was supposed to be
Man,
more. You know what I'm saying? But I don't get it.
I
don't.
think you're right. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen the series do before.
Ryan had a funny look on his face too. Like what?
Well, when
It's
they
kind of strange.
put it in the show, it just looked
It's
weird.
kind of strange.
Okay, now this is my personal opinion, but the property that Steve was listing this episode, I think of all the properties I have seen in the history of this show, and especially in New York, that was my favorite property.
Oh, it was
of all
awesome,
time. Just my
awesome.
preference.
Oh,
You
no,
know,
it was awesome.
It was just my preference. I like that openness. I like the view. I like the balcony, and
From
I like
every
the
angle.
columns. The huge balcony,
Oh, I know.
way up in the sky with your table and chairs and lounge chairs. It was just the coolest place.
But every window you looked at had a view. It wasn't just the terrace or it had a view from the master bedroom, from the bathroom. You know, it just was, and it was 4 bedrooms. It was the best, I think, best piece of property we've seen so far for an average price. You don't want to get into the $25 million. This was affordable for somebody at 13. You know.
Yeah, it must not have been right in the center of Manhattan. You know, it must have been because it's not $20-something million, so it must have been out a little bit. But that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Man, that is a great
And
property.
I tell you something that was brilliant about what Steve Gold did, because you got to always be thinking, is the person below him, you know, had just sold that place, and the realtor, he got in touch with the realtor who was Ken, and said you could make this one big apartment with the 2 floors for $300,000. You could do that, and so he hit him with that first, which was kind of interesting. Then he kept showing it, but the guy eventually came back and eventually bought it. So it's neat when you're a realtor, you can think of out of the box things to hit. You know what I mean? Let them be working in the background while you're showing it up front. That's smart. He did good there.
Yeah, it was good, and it was a great success for him. They settled on $13,250, and listing price was $13,500. So
Awesome.
great deal all around for everyone involved, and it was a high price property, the best Steve's done all year.
Well, tell me something. Who is Ian? Is Ian representing a developer?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, which I wonder how he makes money.
Me
you know?
too.
I wonder.
Why do you need a middleman?
Yeah, it's like he's a manager. You
Yeah.
know, like
I'd kind of like to be him.
Well, Steve said, get paid for doing what you're doing. Become a broker.
Oh, yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
Yeah, and
I bet he gets a salary
He
from
must.
whoever. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
But he'd make more, selling properties, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
he may not want to hustle. Maybe he wants the salary life.
Well, hey, what'd you think about Ron's open house? You think he had a good turnout for that place? That's a nice place, too, though.
Oh, I thought that was really cool. the sales gallery
Yeah, yeah.
with the finishes, and I thought it was really well done.
Me too.
And
We had a lot of people
It's
come.
kind of neat how you can take them into the building and during construction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's odd to me though that many people want new construction. You know, it's amazing how quick and how the numbers
know,
of people
though.
that he brings through to see a place that's unfinished.
But
You know,
they're not-
they're selling out buildings before the place is fully developed, and it's just amazing that there's that number of buyers out there that want new construction.
Yeah, but those are just brokers coming in to look, though. We don't know how many are actually
Yeah, but a
buying.
lot of times these buildings sell out before they even
so?
are finished. Yeah.
I've never really gone back and looked at what the sellout was or whatever, but, maybe, everybody likes everything new.
Yeah, I guess, with the number of people that live in New York, there's always going to be the market that wants new construction, just like anywhere. But, it's just amazing when you have properties out there like Steve Gold's selling,
Oh, yeah.
But I've
I
noticed that
loved his.
Fredrik and Ryan and everybody except Steve is now they're selling out entire buildings.
Yeah.
They're not
Steve will
they're
get
not
there.
taking individual listings, which is smart.
Well, Steve's on that. He still doesn't have a team. You'd have to have a team to do all that stuff. Just like Ryan started Surhant, Brooklyn Surhant, whatever it's called. So he's got different sections of the town now he's dealing with. And didn't he open an office in L.A.? Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so.
he's got a team out there.
Yeah. So he's got teams everywhere, and so does Fredrik in Sweden. Doesn't he have one in Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting.
Yep. Is it?
So is the East Village in Brooklyn? Is it in Brooklyn?
I don't know where East
I
Village
think
is.
it must be, but that's where Ryan, set up his stuff. I wonder why.
Somebody
Fredrik
in New
got
York
that.
is listening to the show saying, "Gosh, these people don't know where East Village is." Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Fredrik had already picked up East Village a long time ago anyway, so it didn't matter. But Steve's was in Tribeca, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that area.
I do too.
I love that area. If
Yeah.
I was going to move there, that's where I think I would look.
Well, and that's where I visited in New York. I went to Tribeca and the surrounding areas. It was really nice.
Hey, what you think about Bradley Cooper getting his real estate license?
I think it's a good move. I think he was smart to drive for Steve to
Yeah, well, get his
learn
name
on the
out there.
job.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but, look at the name. Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh?
Yeah. He's going to always have some kind of, everybody's going to be saying, Bradley Cooper, I want to work with Bradley Cooper.
To his parents' credit, Bradley Cooper
But they didn't
was
know
not
there
famous
was gonna
when
be
they
a
named
Bradley
him.
Cooper
Yeah,
one day,
right.
But he, he did. He learned. That's the way to do it.
Oh, I would too. If
Yeah.
I moved to New York, was about to get my license, I'm going to find one of the great agents in town and shadow them.
Steve keeps talking about a team. You think at the end of this season he's going to come up and say he's doing a team?
I don't know. Depends on your time. You know what? I think it depends on the time of your life. The
That's exactly
timing.
right. How much you want to hustle, how much you want to push.
It's like with my business right now, I have no interest in growing and scaling it with a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where Steve is
That's true.
is at his life right now, but it depends on where you are and your willingness to work with others, because that takes a lot of patience. To get started, you have to weed through certain people.
You have to be able to depend on them.
Well, you just have to, it's a numbers game, I would imagine. You have to run through a lot of people to figure out who the real talent,
That's right. That's what I mean.
who has the real talent. And then once you find those people, you have to keep them there.
That's the other thing that you wonder about. I wonder if, like on Ryan's team, Danny. Remember last week, Danny was a big, he was real good. He could depend on him, all that kind of stuff. But you wonder when they become part of the limelight, like Danny's on TV now, with Ryan last week. Do they get to the point where they say, well, I can do my own. I don't need to be under Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Mm. I wonder if he has a lot of that. Just like he had Jordan and who was that girl? Went to his wedding. Remember in Greece?
Yeah.
And they're part of the team. But you wonder when they get to the point, and they may not. They may like being, working for him, which is fun too. They get to see all the inside stuff. But you wonder if you have a lot of turnover there. You know what I mean?
No,
I'm sure he pays them well.
You have to give them incentive.
Makes a lot of money.
You have to give them incentive to stay.
Right. So I'm sure he pays them well.
But, all that takes a lot of patience.
Oh, gosh, I know it. And you think he's got different offices. You don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's got to keep up with all that.
Well, and there's a period of time where you're spending so much of your time working and growing the team that your sales probably take a dip in that period of time. And that's frustrating because you say, wow, is it really worth my sales taking a dip in order to set all this up? Yeah. Once you get it set up, then they, obviously goes back up and exceeds what you were doing, but it's just annoying, and you have to be at that point in your life where you say, wow, I am tired of doing it on my own. That's enough. I've reached the top.
Right.
And now the challenge of growing, you got to be happy with your position in the market, I think.
I guess you'd quit micromanaging at that point. You look at total numbers of Brooklyn, Surhant, and L.A. What are they doing? Are they dipping? Or are they going up? So that the people are actually working and carrying their weight without you being there watching them. That's the only thing I can figure.
Well, and I bet a lot of them are, on commission too, or partial salary and that kind of thing. So it motivates them to continue working hard because they have a, vested interest. So,
do you think Howard Lorber pays? I've thought about this. Pays Fredrik a little more to stay with Edelman than because Surhant, Ryan went out on his own and did his own. He was with Nest Seekers. Wasn't that what he was with for a while? Was that his own place then, or was that? I can't remember if he worked for somebody at that point, but he's on his own now. And I noticed that Fredrik's has not gone out because he could. But he stayed with Howard Lorber. I'm sure there's an advantage to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. But he's made Fredrik a star.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Fredrik's made him a lot of money.
Well, sure. And I wonder about the advantages to having your own, monetarily versus, like Fredrik versus, working for somebody. I don't know. Fredrik.
Well, I'm figuring he gets an extra kickback for something for staying there, to keeping him on TV.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure there's some kind of agreement because he wouldn't make as much because you split it between the company and you. When you bring, most all of it's 50 to 75% you get, and that's it. So when you're in a company, but when you're on your own, it's yours.
Right.
So you pay your commission to whoever did it, within the company, but it's a lot more to the company.
But what I look at is the numbers on TV for the properties, and Fredrik's numbers are a lot higher. He's getting bigger buildings. He's making bigger commissions.
That's true.
And Ryan is not. I don't know if the having your own company makes up for the difference. But Fredrik has access to the bigger, I think, because of the name of Douglas Elliman. And I think Howard Lorber refers. I think he does because you saw what he did with. You remember when he called him in the office and said, "Look, they're working very closely together," and he picks Fredrik because of the exposure. And
Fredrik's good too.
Well, he's good and the fame too, though. But and the name, they've got a brand going there in New York. Sure. And if Fredrik ever left, that'd be huge news.
Oh yeah.
And that would be difficult for Douglas Elliman, I think. So, anytime Fredrik wants a increase in pay, I imagine he'll negotiate that, no problem.
Well, is Steve Gold working on his own?
Yeah.
So he's got his own business.
Yeah, but he works for an agency.
He does, okay, because it's called Crown or something?
Yeah, I think
something
so.
Like that.
Yeah.
But that's like Douglas Elliman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he's been doing it 10 years. I thought he owned it, like he was and he has a secretary.
No, and there's advantages to that.
Oh, yeah, you don't have a lot of paperwork. You don't have a lot of mess. They just write you a commission check.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
You don't have payrolls. You don't have all that.
I think it's more advantageous to work for an agency unless you're going to scale, like Ryan.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why Steve's not doing it.
Sure.
Because he's not really. And I'm like you, that was a good point you made, because I was wondering why he had not developed a team and wanted to move forward. Maybe he's happy with what he's doing. He's making enough money. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like we said, how much is enough? I mean, Fredrik's reached, he could never spend all he makes. And
well, see, I looked at Ryan. It seems like to me, if I remember right, he didn't scale until he had met Amelia and they were getting married and had all those plans. I mean, he really didn't explode before they met, right? I mean,
he didn't explode, but he did have a team, because you remember you went to New York and you went in and you saw.
But at that time, he and Amelia were a thing, though. already. He wasn't actively dating, looking for.
No,
You know what I
don't think
mean?
so. No, he wasn't then. But
They were
I
in a-
remember the team was set up though. He had an office in there because you went in and talked to some of them. Remember?
Yeah, but he had not. He didn't do Brooklyn. He hadn't done Los
He
Angeles.
hadn't done
you know.
any of that. No.
I mean, he had a small little team in
Yeah, he
there.
did.
And he was already dating a million. I guess what my point is, when you're dating like Steve's trying to do, and you're spending time doing all that, I don't know if you have the time to
yeah,
grow your team and do that, and you know what I mean.
yeah.
So it's got to be, if you're settled, then you can make the decision. I don't know. It's just a lot to do, and I think it has to do with timing.
I think it does too.
And Steve probably don't want to put in all that extra work, dropping sales to grow a team. We'll see.
I don't think that Luis, I think he was at that point. He didn't want a team. He talked about a team. You remember he interviewed people and he didn't like it. He said, I just don't like it. And that was back when he went to see a therapist, you remember? Said he was overwhelmed and all this stuff. And I think that's why he looked at his life and said, what's important to me? Is it growing this stuff, making money, fighting for it? Or is it I really want to enjoy my life? And I think that's kind of where he was at that time. And it may be different if he ever comes back and he's 10 years older, it may be different.
Well, the opportunities you get when you make money, like Luis did, he got a lot of money in a short period of time.
Sure did.
And he came from Puerto Rico where he didn't have money.
And notoriety.
Sure. And when you get money, from a great success like he had, it changes your decision making. I think it opens up opportunities like traveling the world, like going to France, like doing other things, where he took a step back from the work and he said, wow, I've got the money now. I'm going to do something else because I didn't want, I did that to get the money. And now that I have it, I can do other things. And I'm going to go explore those things. Whereas Ryan and Fredrik say, oh, I want to make more. I want to make more. I want to do best. I want to do more. Luis didn't have that. It was like, I don't care if I'm number one. I did well. I made my money. And now I want to go and travel the world and do fun things and live life rather than being secluded to one city and have to broker deals and, handle all the mess and calls and people yelling at you and all that.
Fighting over property.
It's like, do I
Yeah.
want to do that for the rest of my life?
And that's kind of what he kind of said in some statements. But
Yeah, I mean,
but I think he really wants a family and wants to settle down and all that eventually. And he's saying, okay, now I've got the time to go explore these different cultures that I want to do.
sure.
It was really courageous to me for him to walk off because you think how lucky and blessed he was that he was the third person that came into this trio and exploded. And everywhere he goes now, people know who he is. And, he was there 6 years. That would be hard to walk off from because you see, like I said, the notoriety and the, he could write books. He could do a lot of stuff besides just be on the show, and people would buy it because they know who he is. Maybe an advice book or what I learned in the 6 years I was on $1 Million Listing or something. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he liked the fighting. I don't think he liked, pushing to get the developments and the buildings and the, you know what I mean? I don't think he had that in him. I don't think that's what he wanted.
No, it's,
Well, obviously it wasn't. He walked off.
he looks at it from a bigger, I think he is kind of a big idea guy. And I think he sees all those small little fights and conflicts as a waste of his time.
They're really showing Fredrik in a different light, though. At the end, he and Alberto were walking down the street. He seems like he's got a different outlook.
I don't know. I think
A
it's
little
just his phase. I
You
think
think
it's
so?
just part of his personal growth.
You think so?
That's all I think it is. It's good for everybody to do that. Ryan will do it till you give Ryan 5 years, and when he's the best and he's looking down on all the peons, he'll say, wow, I'm thankful and I'm blessed and da-da-da. But when he's going up through the top, he's not doing that. He's a machine. He's working out.
Cynical.
No, I mean,
Maybe he did during that time. They just didn't show us.
No, Fredrik is now wanting to do more with the family. Once you reach the top, your priorities change. The
that's
chase
wrong.
the chase is over.
But that's wrong because you know what? Your priority should be that way going up the ladder.
Well, see, I don't think there's any place for that. When you're going up the ladder,
yeah.
you can't have that. You've got to be a robot. You've got to be a machine. You've got to be tough.
See, I don't agree with that.
Okay,
I think you can have the family life and all that. I think it's selfish that you don't. You wait until you get to that point. I think you should be able to go ahead and do it and keep your priorities straight where you're giving all along. You don't wait till you've got all the money. See, giving makes you really is a bigger statement.
Well, hold it. Giving is different.
No. What I'm saying is giving all along. While
That's
he was
fine.
doing the climb, he should have been
That's
giving
fine.
all along.
Giving, but I'm talking about
Giving back.
spiritual.
Yeah, but that's part of giving.
No,
It
giving
is.
is not spiritual.
Yes, it is.
Spiritual side of your life is family. It's emotion. It's giving is a part of it.
Sure it is.
Faith. It's belief. It's those things. It's not just one thing. You're talking about just giving. Sure, you can give on charity when you go on the way up.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about giving while you're building your business,
Yeah.
while you've got a family.
But
Because you're doing it all along. See, when you give when you have less, that really means more. It really means more. Because when you get to the top and you just got all the surplus money and you give it, that's fine. But you know what? When you give when you have little, it means more.
yeah, but I'm talking about we're talking about two different things here. I agree with you. Giving while you're going up when you have less is fine. That's great. That's perfect. You can do that. What I'm talking about is the church side. When you're spending time meditating, going to church, praying, spending time with your spouse, trying to have kids, all those things, that takes a massive amount of time if you do it properly. And you can't do both. You know, that's why Fredrik, on his way to the top, going to number one years ago, he reached that point probably last year. Took him 5, 6, 7 years. During that 5, 6, 7 years, it was laser focus. It was workout. It was work. It was go home, work out, work, go home. Because you can't do it all. And I think it's okay. I think you do it in phases. You want to be the best, you have to be laser focused on being the best. And then, after you've reached that level, then you can back off and start doing it's in phases. Do you agree with that or disagree? Because I'm a phase guy. I'm a phase guy. I say do your work, you know, and reach your goals, and then back off and enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's a phase thing, rather than doing it all at one time. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's possible.
I don't know, because I look at
Steve Gold. That's
No.
why he's not married.
I know, but no, he's not married because he ain't found the right person.
Well, I know
that's
that,
not
but-
necessarily the truth.
but
But
he-
he does enjoy what he does, and I think he enjoys that. And we don't know how much he dates anyway on the side. He probably does date, but no, I was thinking about like Trump. Okay, he's been working forever, you know, on his business and stuff, but he kept his connection with his kids all that time. That's why his kids.
Well, he got
and are
divorced 3 times.
He did. I'm not talking about that part. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the fact that he tried to include family and all that in there, you know. And I don't know how much the outside influence had on him.
What I've heard is that he continued to work, and he brought his kids on his office on the floor while he was calling people.
Well, okay, maybe that's not a good
Okay, so
example. Well, maybe that's not a good example. I'm just saying I noticed their relationship now.
Well,
and they
they're
seem to
great.
really think a lot of him. And I just think there are some cases where it can work, where you do a little bit of it at a time. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe if you're working toward the scale that he is.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll compromise. I think it's probably possible to do it all. Okay? I kind of agree with you. I think you can do it all along, going up to the top. Number one broker in New York. I think you can have the family and do all that.
I don't know. You're probably right.
But I think let's say this. I'll compromise and say it's easier
Yeah.
to do
would
it
be
in
easier.
phases.
I was thinking about some CEOs I know of big corporations and how they stayed close to their families. But the difference is the wives handled all the stuff. They came home at night, you know, and saw the kids and stuff. It was different. They worked on the business while the wife did everything else.
Well, and also,
you've got to have a good support team too.
Well, and I don't know how you can compare being a real estate agent to other industries, because real estate agents their schedules are way different than most everybody else. I mean,
Well, I have a friend now that's going through that. She's young. They're trying to build their business. She's got 2 kids. She's working the nanny. She's trying to work out. She's trying to feed them right. She's trying to work, you know, and I don't know how she does it. And she looks like she just stepped out of a magazine. She's beautiful. But she's got to be tired. I don't know how long you could do that, because
oh, you do it when you're
it's
young.
hard.
Well, you did it when you were young.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, it's just work.
Balancing
you
kids and balancing, you know, it's hard.
You do it. When you're young, you do it.
You can still wear yourself out, though.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a choice between, yes, I want to have kids, and see, that's where I think women get shortchanged, because she's had to have the baby. She's had to be out there big as a balloon trying to sell property. She has the babies, then she has to get back in shape. You know, he just basically has the kids and gets up and works out and goes to work. I mean, there's a lot more that women are expected to do,
I
which
think
is
it's part of
tough.
being a woman.
And you get tired. You get really tired. But you know what? If you want to succeed, like if there's parts of you that want to be in the business world, there are parts of you that want to be a mother, you've got to make the decision how to do that, you know?
Wow.
And that's hard. Y'all don't have that decision. It's hard. If there are any women out there, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear what you think about that, too, because, you know, we went through the era of, oh, women can have it all. You know, we can go get the bacon and fry it up in a pan. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for all that. It's too much. It'll kill you. It's tough.
That is the way God made it.
I know. But women get shortchanged if they really want a career.
The only
It's tough.
difference is they have to have the babies, and that's
It's
what
tough.
causes the problems.
Well, you know, this friend of mine, I see her handling the nanny. When the kids are sick, she's at the doctor. He doesn't do any of that.
Well,
He gets
that's her-
up, works out, and goes
Well,
to
you
work.
know what? If she wants her husband to do that, then she
Well,
needs
that's
to tell
what I'm
him
saying,
to.
though. I'm just saying that it just ends up being that way.
Well, there's a
you know?
massive paradigm out there that the
Because-
women are supposed to take care of the kids, but also
No,
you
not
live in the
necessarily
South.
that.
That makes a big difference.
No, it's just that women have that innate want to know what's going on with their kids. If they're sick, they want to know what's going on. The dads don't really care that much sometimes.
I would
They want
challenge
medicine.
I would challenge you to watch somebody that lives in New York as a woman in the business world and see how she handles it.
I wish I knew somebody.
I think you'd be very surprised.
I wish somebody would call into this show that is from New York, that has a career, that has kids. I would love to know if it's different from the
Because
South.
I see it, you know, on Twitter and social media. I see these women that are doing it, and they've got their ways. You know, it's
Yeah, but do they just hand the kids off to a nanny? Do the kids know who they are? You know,
Yeah,
I wonder
I
what
don't
kind of
know.
relationship they have with their kids.
I don't know, but I would challenge you to find somebody and talk to them about it. That would be
I
interesting.
would love to.
Get outside of the South. I think there's
I would love to.
that status down here is that the women generally take care of the kids more than the men do,
You think so?
and that's just a Southern thing.
I think
yeah.
that's still a northern thing. I think it's just an innate.
Well, it is,
God
but-
made us where we're empathetic and we carry that child and we want to know what's wrong with that child. Y'all are kind of distant.
There's a lot changing out west and up north that and they have, you know, I just don't know how they do it, but I see them do it. Maybe the kids are with the nannies all day long. I don't know, but
I'd love to know what they
but
do.
the women are having kids and they're having the corporate life, and somehow it's working.
It's tough.
And the kids aren't in bad shape. They're not terrible.
It's tough.
But
It's interesting.
speaking of Donald
conversation.
Trump earlier, though, you know, he had Melania. He'll openly say that Melania did all the work with the kids, you know. Mm-hmm. He said that that's what she wanted to do, and I found somebody that wanted to do that. So, you know. Like
Hey,
Barron,
well,
she's
that's
taking
fine,
care of
though.
Barron. You know, she does all that. But, you know, he does his role because obviously he did because they're good kids. You know?
Seems like it.
If
yeah.
if he was distant and
Yeah.
hateful and didn't take care of them, then they'd have problems, you know.
You couldn't make that up.
Yeah.
Because
so-
I know how Reagan's kids did him, you know. And I don't think he totally deserved it. I think kids were kind of.
Well, it sounds like to me, what I've read and heard about him is that he just had an open door policy with his kids, and wherever
Well,
he
they came
was,
first. If they called in, he answered the
Absolutely.
phone. Yeah, I get that.
and I think that makes a huge difference in the kids' lives because
Well,
that
they felt like he was available.
absolutely.
And I understand that.
Whereas a lot of fathers make
That's true.
themselves unavailable.
That's true.
and that makes it big. That makes the difference, I think. You know.
Yeah,
So anyway,
that's true. I think you're right.
what a good conversation.
Yeah, it
well,
was
we need to
good.
cut that and make it its own video.
That was good. But
That
I
was
wish we
good.
did have a call-in show because I would like to hear from some women.
Set it up.
How do you do? I don't know how to do
Go
it.
to the bookstore and figure out how.
Okay, I'll get some books and read on it, like
Yeah.
I've done my whole life.
Hire an intern. They'll do
figure
it
it
for
out.
us.
You need to go back and see Topher and Rosenberg.
My schedule's maxed, baby. I don't have
So
time.
is mine.
I don't
I'm
have
running
time.
thin right now, but I would love to know it.
We want to start
Don't we
some
have a number?
donations, then we can afford it.
Well, don't we have a number that people can call in?
Yeah, they can call in, but it's not live, so
Oh.
it's not a huge
Well, can they
thing.
call in and leave a message?
Well, we have people do that often, but
Well, if there's any women out there that we were just talking about that subject, I wish you would call in and leave a message. I would love to talk to you because, honestly, I would love to know what the difference is in the South and the North.
well,
It'd
you
be
can
kinda
find that.
interesting.
You ought to Google it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I want to hear it from somebody real.
All right, I understand.
You know, it'd just be interesting to see if we, you know, I think women all over the world are the same. I just do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Well, that was a good conversation. Tweet us at McKinnon Maddox on Twitter. Over 47,000 people now.
That many.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
My
At
husband
McKinnon Maddox.
Listen to the podcast. the other
Oh, good
day in
for
the
him.
car
Oh,
when he
good.
was working.
Yeah, good.
He said it was fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of car listeners.
Said he enjoyed it.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun, Ree. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it
Thanks
was
for being
fun.
a part of the show.
It was a good show too. I enjoyed this show. Everybody did really well.
Yeah, it was
so
good.
I like it when they all have happy endings.
All right. Well, until next week, this has been Mac.
And this is Ree.
Keep it all biz.
And we'll see you on the podcast.